Hello and welcome back to the second video on the 5 video series on robotics and automation, the fourth unit. Uh, this is Dr. Ilongovan. This is the fourth unit of the syllabus, and in the last one we just saw the PLC introduction. In this one we will look at the basic PLC operation. The PLC stands for Programming Logic Control. The input scan detects the states of input devices and that is connected to the PLC. This is the ladder programming here, and then the program scan executes the program created by the user. The output is all here. The output scan output operates all the output devices which is connected. So there are a lot of input devices, there are output devices which is connected to the PLC. Okay, the housekeeping communicates with the other devices and run the diagnostics. Now, what are the various input devices of PLC are like this. The input device is a piece of computer hardware equipment which uses used to provide data and control signals to an information processing system or the IPS. Now, some of the input devices are like this: the sensing device, limit switches, proximity switches, photoelectric sensors, condition sensors, vacuum switches, temperature switches, then the level switches and pressure switches. We look at every type of device one after the other. The sensing one or the switches and push buttons the diagram is given here. It's got a push button switch is a mechanical device and it is used to control an electrical circuit in which the operator manually presses a button to actuate an internal switching mechanism. It just switches on or off. It is basically a switch. Now the next one is a limit switch. A limit switch is a switch operated by the motion of a machine part or the presence of an object. Now, a limit switch can be used for controlling the machinery as a part of the control system, as a say, or as a safety interlock, or as a counter enumerating object passing a point. It can just go touch first time, the counter gets 1, and then the next time it touches it, counter gets 2. Now in the lathe you also we have a dog which like a limit switch. It goes one end and then it reverses and comes back to the other side, or it can also be used for in the day-to-day lift operation. Now, the proximity sensor includes all the sensors that perform non-contact detection in compared to the sensors. So, there's a contact type, there's a non-contact type. We'll look at more about this in detection in comparison to the sensors such as the limit switches, which is a contact type that detects the objects by physically contacting them. The proximity sensors convert the information on the movement to the presence of an object into an electrical signal. Now, if something is coming very near to it within a proximity, which is there's a range, and within that range, if the object comes nearby, then actuates and then it sends us electrical signal. Now, the next one is the photoelectric sensors. Then different types of photoelectric sensors are also there through beam sensor, retro-reflective sensors, and then diffusive sensors, etc. A photoelectric sensor detects objects or changes the surface conditions and other items through a variety of optical properties. It consists primarily of an emitter and an emitting light for emitting a light, and then a receiver for receiving light. Now you would have seen such kind of things in operating in a mall where you go near and then to a faucet, and then the water comes, and then once you go away the water stops. Now such kind of things are being operated through photoelectric sensors. Then we have the condition monitoring sensors. The condition monitoring sensors consist of a sensors and amplifiers. Okay. Now the sensor continuously visualizes the health status or of facilities and equipment for like an lathe or a fan motor especially in the aircrafts. A lot of gadgets are there like compressors and etc. like that. Now the health of each of those devices is being monitored to and detects the sign of abnormalities. It amplifies easily connect various analog sensors for the condition monitoring of to in the Internet of Things. Now you see the condition monitoring. Basically, it here it captures checks the the vibration or the temperature, etc. And then thermography, the lubricant oil, the motor current, all these things, or the pressure. Now these are all the kind of signals which are being used in condition monitoring technologies. Now we have the vacuum switch. A vacuum switch is an electronic or a mechanical device that provides an electrical switching contact function at a defined vacuum gas pressure level. Okay, so we see the diagram, the device shown. Then you have the temperature switch. The temperature switch or a thermal switch is used to open and close switch contacts. The switching status of the temperature switch changes independently on the input temperature. This function is used to protect against overheating and overcooling. Okay, something where the room heaters, etc., where heating is required, and then if it is up to a particular point, and then again it maintains the heating and cooling. Okay. Now the level switches is basically for monitoring the level of liquids in especially the overhead tanks. A level switches is a sensor that detects the presence of liquids, powder or granulated material at a specific location. It is also referred to as a level sensor. When a tank is supplied with liquid or overflows, in order to prevent overflows, a level switch is installed near the top of the tank, and this is being in a day-to-day usage in the overhead systems that is there in the domestic applications. You have the pressure switch. The pressure switches are used in a system to ensure the safety of the machine and its operator, while the sensors simply relay a pressure readout to a remote location. There is a reading out of the pressure, plus as it keeps reading out the pressure up to a particular level, and then once it reaches a level, it will get switched off. The control valve, which valve receives a signal from the controller, such as a PLC, in order for it to move, resulting in a change in flow. You want to regulate the flow based on something. Generally, you see, such kind of things is being used in fountains. Okay, the amusement parks, etc. In fountains, because of the PLC signal is the electrical, the control valve may require a device to convert that electrical signal so that it can operate. Right. Okay, so here we have the different types of valves: the rotary valve, the global valve, the needle valve, axial valve. Ball valve is generally being used at home. You have the butterfly valve, which is used in industries, and then you have the knife edge valve, linear valve, gate valve, again a domestic one, rising stem valve, etc. Okay. Now the kind of output, this one, you have the starters. Motor starters are for motor control application. A starter is an electrical device which controls the electrical power for starting a motor. These electrical devices are also used for the purpose of stopping or reversing the and protecting the electrical motors. Right. There are horns, speakers, and alarms. Speakers are used to create tones and voice messages. Horns can only create a tone or a single sound. That's the difference between a horn and a thing. You also have stack lights, one above the other. They are also called as signal lights. They used in industrial signal lights or tower lights, are commonly used in equipment or industrial manufacturing and the process control environments to provide a visual and a audible indicators of machine status apparatus, the machine status to the operator. Okay, you have the control relay. A control relay is a switch or a magnetic switch. It allows electrical current to flow through a conducting coil that opens or closes the switch. And finally, you have the pumps, a machine used for the purpose of transferring quantities of liquid from or gases from one place to the other place. Either it is horizontally or vertically above. We use pumps, right? I think this will be the end of the second thing. We will continue again on the third one. Thank you very much.